Let's talk about content. What is it? How do I create it? How do I post it? What do I share? What don't I share? There are so many emotions and so much hesitation and resistance around content that I've seen in business coaches, guides, mentors in the online space. I believe we've greatly overcomplicated content marketing. So in this episode, I am breaking down the 3 main content pillars, as well as some of their subtopics and a secret one that I've just recently added that I actually teach to my clients inside my transformational program. So if you are ready to learn all about content, what it means, how to create it, what to include inside of it, how to let your intuition lead when you are creating content, and how to avoid things like transactional marketing in order to build trust with your community and to be seen as an expert and to really attract your aligned clients, keep on listening.
I'm your host, Tiffany Chung, your go-to for all things marketing, mindset, and manifestation. I grew my online business from 0 to beyond 6 figures in 8 months. My purpose is to empower women to step into the highest, most aligned versions of themselves. If you are ready to take charge of your life, learn how to design a wildly successful business, and leave limiting beliefs behind, you've come to the right place. You will learn the actionable tips and step-by-step strategies on money, manifestation, and social media. It's time to step into your role as boss, to raise your vibration, and tap into your unlimited potential today. Welcome to the Social Reset Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Social Reset Podcast. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm so excited to be back because I took a week off for the holiday and then another week off because I've been doing some vacationing. So it's been really good to be able to do that, take a step away from the screen, be able to step outside of my house for the first time in over a year, and it's been good. It's been good for the soul, but I'm so excited to be talking about content today. So we are going to be talking a little bit about strategy in your content planning, in your social media posts in order to build trust with your community. But you know me, I can't focus on just the strategy itself. We've got to include some of that feminine flow in there as well. So we're going to be talking about creating content in a flowier way that isn't so masculine or so strategy focused, because I know a lot of us, especially if you're listening to this podcast, you want to have a little bit more of the ebb and flow. You want a little bit more spontaneity, and you want to be able to lead with intuition, right? Sometimes we plan a piece of content and maybe it doesn't feel good that day, or maybe you're sitting down to try to plan your content and nothing's coming to you. So let's talk a little bit about what that means and what we can do in order to create the content that you want, as well as different content pillars that you can bake and incorporate into your content plan in order to diversify the themes that you're bringing up, just to help your audience learn a little bit more about you before they dive into your sales funnels and your different offers. So let's talk about content pillars and what that means. What is a content pillar? And then I will break down my content pillars that I actually teach inside of my program that I share with my clients. So content pillars are pillars and themes within your content that you diversify and that you switch up over time. So let me give you an example. So a content pillar allows you to not just, so for example, you're a business coach like me, and you don't just want to talk about education and knowledge around business coaching 24/7. You want to build trust with your community. You want to share a little bit more about who you are outside of the content that you share. So content pillars are going to allow you to spread out kind of who you are and help your audience understand the very multifaceted person that you are, and also teach them why they should trust you and why they should book you and work with you over somebody else, right? So this isn't about competition. This isn't about outranking you, but this is about how you stand out is what I'm trying to say, is how you stand out. What is your secret sauce? What makes you different? And a lot of that is coming from storytelling and sharing your story and who you are. And the reason that I love this so much is because I started my platform about 7 years ago now. And when I first started, I had no intentions of becoming a coach. I had no intentions of even being a blogger. I didn't even know what that word meant. It wasn't even really a thing back then. I mean, it was just starting to be a thing, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? I just literally wanted community. I was a new single mom. I was so young and so broke. I had no money. I had no idea what I was doing. And I just wanted people. I literally just wanted humans, and I wanted to feel less alone. I just wanted to feel like I wasn't the only one going through shit in my life, and I wanted to feel like I had people that I could relate to and resonate with, and I wanted to build a community, and I wanted to be a part of a community. So one of the first things that I did was start sharing my story. I shared a little bit about being in an abusive, toxic relationship. I talked about being a new single mom. I talked about mothering. I talked about breastfeeding. I talked about co-parenting. I talked about taking care about yourself as a single mom. I talked about living on my own, talked about schooling, work, digital marketing, all the things that I knew, right? I told a lot of stories because all I had at that point were stories. I didn't feel like I had a lot to teach at that time, but stories are educational. Regardless of if you're teaching specifically and intentionally or not, you're sharing a specific story with somebody that can take something away from it just by hearing your experience. And so I was very vulnerable. I was very, very open about my mental health and about a lot of the things that I struggled with, anxiety, postpartum depression. Those were all things that were very, very real at that point in my life. And I was also seeking out therapy. There were a lot of things I was doing that I wanted to be able to share and connect with people online, because I also didn't feel like I could connect with a lot of people in my real life, right? I was a very, very young mom. A lot of my friends were just turning 21. They were going out all the time. I did not feel like I had a solid group of people that I could rely on, or people that I felt like were in my circle at that time in my life. I was also really good at isolating myself because I was dealing with depression. I was dealing with a lot of different things internally and mentally that did kind of put me aside and made me want to be alone. Also, being friends with a new single mom, like I was so tired. I was so busy. I was just so exhausted that I probably wouldn't have been a great friend anyway. So what I did was I turned to Instagram and YouTube, and I joined the beauty community. I started sharing my story. I started to connect with the people that were around me, and I started to make friends and build friends. So I started with storytelling. And a lot of people that are still a part of my community today are following me from those videos and from those stories where they actually remember these moments that like I don't even remember sharing, which is so funny. But a lot of them tell me that, oh my goodness, I've watched Alaska grow up, or I remember her when she was a little baby, or I remember her when she was in her toddler years. And it's just insane to me how people really connect with the stories that you share, even if it is years and years ago, because for some reason, it allows them to feel that they resonate. And think about when you are listening to stories from people around you. It's probably the people that you connect with the most that have been vulnerable, that have shared parts of their life on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, that you feel like, wow, I want to continue following this person because of how vulnerable they are, or because they've shared certain parts of their life. So I want to preface these content pillars with that and the power of being vulnerable. I do also want to touch on the fact that if you don't feel safe, if you don't feel comfortable sharing certain parts of yourself online, that it's normal, right? I can say something like, just push past it, just get over it, just stop thinking about it. But in reality, a lot of what this comes from, this fear, it comes from some sort of a trauma response. And trauma doesn't always mean abuse or violence or war, right? The most extreme things that happen in our lives, they can just be related to trauma that can be synced with emotions, feelings, and experiences that have left us feeling alone or that have left a really bad taste in our mouths. And so because it links back to a negative experience in our life or negative experiences, it prevents us from doing things because we feel like it is so unsafe. And so something I like to do is listen to where that's coming from in my body. And then when I start to feel, okay, where is this coming from in my body? I start to think about and ask myself, ask my subconscious, what does this look like? What does it feel like? If it had a voice, what would it say? And I would start self-coaching myself through this and then flip it around, right? So I would identify, okay, what is it? What does it feel like? What does it look like? What is it saying to me? Okay, cool. And then I would flip it around and I would reframe it and go, how can I reframe this to serve my highest good? If the voices are telling me nobody cares what you have to say, nobody wants to listen to you, nobody is going to want to engage with your content, people are going to laugh at you, then I would first think about where are those voices coming from? Can I link those voices to specific people in my life? A parent, a friend, an abusive ex-partner? Where are these voices coming from? And then once I link that and I become aware, I grow aware of it and recognize that that's not coming from my higher self. It's not coming from me. It's not even coming from actual people around me most of the time. It just goes in my head. And then I will reframe that and go, okay, well, what can I tell myself and what can I say to myself and what cognitive thoughts can I tell myself that are going to help serve my highest good, because the end goal is being able to build a business online and show up for my community and show up for my aligned clients. So if that's my goal, what are my thoughts? What are my actions? What are my behaviors? Who do I need to be? And so it helps me reframe, and I hope that this will help you kind of walk through and reframe some of those thoughts, because I know, trust me, there is a lot of fear around putting yourself out there. And this isn't to say you need to share every single thing that you've ever been through in your life. That's not the goal, and that's not the purpose of content pillars and creating content. If there are certain scenarios that you want to keep to yourself and that you want to keep private and that you don't want to share, please don't force yourself to. But if there are other moments and other situations and other stories that you feel like would be really beneficial and that you do feel comfortable sharing, I think there is a lot of power in being vulnerable. And there might be certain things that you never share on the internet, and there might be certain things that you just kind of warm up to sharing more and more over time. I'm the kind of person that if something's happening currently, it's a little harder to talk about, but it is a little bit easier to talk about things from the past. So I'll kind of pull some things from my past. I'll pull some things from experiences I've gone through that I've kind of seen through from beginning to end, and I've taken a learning lesson from. Those are always easier to start with. So maybe that's something that you can start with as well. But I want to encourage you to be vulnerable and to share, because this is going to build a beautiful amount of trust with your community. And the more that you can share openly and share through video content or even just through captions, the more your community is going to go, oh my goodness, yes, this is the person that I would love to work with someday, or even just, I would love to hear more content from this person. This person's a beautiful individual to follow. I want to touch on transactional marketing really quickly before I dive into these pillars. And that is the act of thinking, I am going to post this. I'm going to post this video or this caption or this carousel with the intention that I need 3 signups into my new program, or I need 3 calls booked by the end of tomorrow, right? It's this like slot machine transactional marketing model that I see a lot, right? People go, oh, I posted this and I got no engagement. I got no signups. Nobody messaged me. Nobody signed up for a call. Why did I even put that up anyway? I want to remind you that when it comes to creating content, it's never one piece of content that's going to make or break you. It is going to be your content as a whole. Your content as a whole is what matters, okay? And when it comes to content, it is normally looking at the delayed gratification rather than the instant gratification. There are going to be a lot of silent stalkers that are watching your content, listening to your content, consuming your content, digesting your content on a daily or weekly basis and may never say anything. There are a lot of people that I follow that I'm not messaging them every single time or liking and commenting and engaging, saving every single post, but I am digesting their content. I'm not doing this intentionally. I just am a busy person. I don't have the time. If something really resonates with me, I will go out of my way and comment on it sometimes, but sometimes I read it and go, wow, that was really incredible. I'd love to learn more. There are a lot of people I listen to their podcasts and I'm not messaging them after every single podcast to let them know, oh my goodness, this was incredible. I'm sure I can go out of my way and do that a little bit more because I love receiving messages from all of you when you hear my podcast episodes. So maybe it's something I can work on being more intentional about when I do have the time. But I just want to prove a point that we consume content on a daily basis, but we're also not reaching out every single time either, right? So just know that there are people that are going to be consuming your content and going, wow, that was incredible. And maybe you will not know about it until they pop out of the blue one day and go, hey, I've been reading everything you've been posting and you know what? I'm ready to join your program. Can I book a call with you? Can I learn more about what it's like to work with you? And even if it never ends up that way, you just change the perspective of somebody's life, maybe forever, in a really positive and uplifting way. And what is better than that, right? That's beautiful. It is a beautiful thing. So just know that there's a lot going on behind the scenes that you might not see results from instantly or overnight, but it doesn't mean that it's not happening. Content is a long game. So, okay, I get all my disclaimers out there. Let's break down these content pillars. So, the very first content pillar that I want to break down is unawareness. So again, think of these as big umbrellas, okay? We're going to have these big umbrellas, and then underneath these umbrellas, we're going to have specific content themes that are personalized and customized to your specific business, your specific secret sauce. And I'll break down more about what that means as I go through each one of these content pillars. So we have unawareness, know, like, trust, and shared connections. I'm actually adding a fourth one, but I'm actually going to create it as a subtopic under unawareness just because it's very similar. So let's start there. What is unawareness? Unawareness is the content and the themes and the methods and the way that you view the world that your aligned client doesn't know about yet, right? So some of you might call this problem aware, helping them become aware of something that they can work through, helping them become aware of specific desire points that they want to get to in their life, depending on what kind of coach, guide, or mentor or educator you are, and helping them recognize what is it that they may want to shift their perspective on? Or what have you shifted your own perspective on that has helped you change your life in some way? So back when I was an Instagram coach, I would create unawareness content that would fall under the lines of, did you know this is how Instagram's algorithm works? And I might break down some specifics about the algorithm. I might help them shift their perspective on how to create and post content, right? Things that I would assume that they probably don't know based on the market research I've done or conversations that I've had, and then helping them shift their perspective so that by the time they're inside my program, they already know these things. So essentially, this is the content that you want your audience and your ideal clients to know before they start working with you, right? What does that content look like? For me now as a business activation coach, some of the unawareness content might surround limiting beliefs, mindset, human design, feminine and masculine energies. These are things that I talk a lot about and incorporate inside my program. So in order for someone to start taking action around this, they need to understand what this is. They might not be aware that they're operating in the wounded masculine. They might not be aware of what feminine and masculine energies are. So I might create a post or I might go on live and create a content topic around masculine and feminine energies. Masculine being the do, all of the action, and then the feminine being the being, and how we are meant to, as conscious individuals, create a sacred union of being and doing, so that we're not operating in the wounded masculine of just doing in the hustle, and also not just being in what is now known as the wounded feminine, which is a thing, and finding a balance between both of them to create harmony in your life and in your business. And I might share a little bit about how I have been able to overcome just operating in the wounded masculine and blending both of them, or learning to blend both of them in my life right now. Boom, content piece right there. So that's unawareness, okay? There's a subtopic under unawareness that I do want to bring up, and I'm calling this the breakdown. So the breakdown is essentially your specific proprietary methods, terminologies, and models that either you've coined or created, or that you're incorporating inside of your program. For example, I say the words secret sauce a lot. I don't like the term niche, and I don't like the idea of making people feel like they need to niche down. It feels really limiting, and it feels like putting them into a little box and telling them this is the only thing that you can do in your business. And I don't like that. It feels kind of icky to me. So I don't like niching. I don't like telling people to niche down. I like telling people that they can be as big as they want to be, and that niching down is a lie. And so this is something also that I used to believe and I used to teach in my marketing, right? We're being real and vulnerable and transparent here. And I'm not going to sit here and act like, you know what, I just started my business and it's just been flowy the entire time. Like, no, I was working myself to death, 12-hour days, giving myself vertigo, niching down, doing all of the masculine things. But now that I've blended both of them, I'm also able to share stories about how I don't believe in niching down anymore. And I don't think that it's something that you need to do in order to be successful in your business. So I would break down what a secret sauce is. Secret sauce is something that is very aligned to you and your higher purpose, and is something you want to bring to the table to your aligned community. And then we talk about, what that's going to look like as you are building your program, right? That's what a secret sauce is to me. Another breakdown piece or breakdown content idea for me is aligned client avatar. I don't say an ideal client because I don't want you just to attract ideal people. I want you to attract aligned clients into your business, people that are ready, people that are embodying the energy of someone that maybe you once were, and is ready to start taking the action and start listening to a guide, a mentor, a coach, someone in their life. Just because someone is ideal doesn't mean that they're aligned. So there are certain things that I teach my clients to look for in aligned clients that is very specific to me, my program, and my methodologies. So these are just some examples that are very, very signature to me. Another one is activation, business activation. What does that mean? I believe that anybody can create a program, anyone can create a course, and it's probably great, it's probably beautiful. But I believe, and this is the core of my business, which is why I feel so strongly about it, is that if you're not doing the inner work, if you're not healing yourself and working on your own personal development and working through your own limiting beliefs, as well as being very open about your journey and incorporating manifestation and mindset and really listening to your unique human design, it's not an activated business. An activated business incorporates all of those things to really listen to and be sure that you are honoring your higher self. So that's what activated means to me. I believe an activated business is your birthright. So those are some proprietary methods, some signature models that I've created inside my own programs and inside my own business. Your breakdown will be specific signature methods, methodologies that you follow or that you've created into your business. This can be your 3-step method. It could be your 5-step program. What does that look like? Why have you created that? Focus on the transformation and focus on what that means. So now we've covered unawareness and the breakdown. now let's talk about know, like, and trust. You've probably heard a lot about these 3 words. So know is introducing yourself, sharing your hobbies, sharing your story. What do people need to know about you, right? What's your backstory? What is your why? Why have you created your business? Who are you, right? And then like can be a lot looser. It could be really casual. It could be fun facts. It could be funny stories. You can share specific experiences. Why should people like you? What are some things that are really, really unique to you that make you stand out and that kind of set you apart from the crowd? This is where you might share, like 10 fun facts about yourself that people might not know about you. What are some things that, are so strange and so weird about you that you feel like your audience can maybe resonate with or share weird, fun things about themselves? So I feel like is very much like current, what's happening currently in your life. What are you doing in the present day? Know is knowing you and who you were, your story, the past. And then the trust of know, like, trust is educational content, business related posts, knowledge, misconceptions, teaching people how to do things, and also teaching people how to understand things, right? So my educational content or my knowledge content might be helping people understand what it looks like to build a program. This also might be human design content to help them understand a little bit more about their human design. So this is very educational. This is going to help them not only build trust with me, but also learn something from me. Something happens when you are shifting somebody's perspective and they go, I've never thought about that before. They want to keep coming back to you for more knowledge around it. They've started building a relationship with you. They start looking at you as the expert, as their guide in this specific area. This is your secret sauce. And then shared connections is the very last content pillar. Shared connections essentially is where you can get a little bit more vulnerable. I would love to see people start to connect with their audience deeper. So I know that my majority of my audience, I believe 90% of my audience is women. A lot of them are moms. So I'll share things about my motherhood journey, around mental health, about women empowerment, and supporting other women, other small businesses. Shared connections are also me speaking up about social justice, marginalized communities of color, my own community. There's so many different things that I relate to with my audience and my aligned audience, and allow me to really build deeper relationships with them. This is also me sharing travel content when I go outside and when I go on vacation. This can be me sharing specific events, specific experiences that I know are going to build relationships with the right people. So that's what shared connections means to me. And I think it's so powerful to create content that allow people to just feel like they know you so much more. I truly believe that more coaches, more guides, more mentors online, more online business owners just need to show up as human beings, right? We see enough on social media of people living these lives and sharing very specific things that feel like highlight reels in their life. And it just feels so calculated and manicured and perfectly put together, edited, revised over and over. I think there is a beauty in sharing about the very, very vulnerable, real, and raw experiences that we go through as human beings in our life. And I promise you that you are going to build such deep connections with the right people inside your community when you do this. So let me know if you enjoyed this episode on content pillars. I will share more content creation content about content, and answer any specific questions. So please DM me, share this to your stories. Let me know if you have any specific questions. I would love to really dive into this even deeper if this is a topic you want to hear more about. And with that, I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe. If this episode resonated with you, please take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at tiffanychung.co. I truly appreciate interacting with every one of you. Catch you all on the next one.